Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of One, Two, Three Wrestling. I am your main host for this evening, Nick Slade, along with my minion for the evening, Kristen.
Hello, I'm here.
Minions don't talk.
Fuck you.
You want a banana?
Fuck you.
But yeah, since I am the main host this evening, you know that means we're going back to the Impact Zone for TNA Rebellion 2025. Man, it has been a roller coaster ride with TNA lately with their relationship with WWE. So how
Man, it's been a road so far, yeah.
it's been a very road so far. So let's go over that road so far.
Road so far. Ah, pro wrestling reference.
Yeah, okay, very clever. Quiet minion. Um, So since our last coverage, which was TNA Genesis, which was awesome because Joe Hendry finally won the TNA World Title. Uh oh yeah, Joe Hendry. Let's talk about Joe Hendry real quick. He showed up in the Royal Rumble. That was really cool. Um, and then as we mentioned in great detail in our WrestleMania coverage, he showed up at WrestleMania as Randy Orton's mystery opponent. So that was insane. The TNA World Heavyweight Champion wrestled on WrestleMania.
Mm.
God, we live in a weird timeline.
But there's something that happened in between, though.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has happened in between. I just want to cover what Joe Hendry's been up to. So we got that. A little sad news. PCO decided to go into business for himself, and at a GCW event, he tried to destroy the digital media title. He couldn't really get that hammer working. I guess that's not the only thing he doesn't have working at his age. Oh, so apparently GCW thought this was a kayfabe storyline but Gordon reports PCO wasn't happy with TNA choosing not to re-sign him, or previously also like a lower pay cut because apparently the last contract that Scott D'Amore gave him was pretty hefty. And honestly, I can understand why TNA probably did, based on how much money it was, probably didn't want to keep paying that. So PCO decided to be an unprofessional douchebag and destroy the title that they gave him at an event. So that was the legitimate reason why they got the belt off him. They decided to do a storyline reason by having his storyline wise Steph Lander get the title in a divorce settlement. So Steph Lander became the digital media champion. But after holding it for a bit, they decided to retire the digital media championship and start a tournament to crown the first TNA international champion, which we will get
Oh.
to how that resulted in a moment. But to go back to some really cool crossovers between WWE and TNA over the past few months, we had Jordan Grace officially leaving TNA after Genesis to sign with NXT. She's been doing great with that so far, trying to get her hands on the NXT Women's title. We'll see if she gets that before they bring her up to the main roster. I know you're talking about the idea that she probably won't be spending too much time in NXT.
There's a new report that came out that says she's already signed a major main roster contract, and her time at NXT is going to be a short one.
I was kind of hoping she'd get NXT title run before she left, but we'll see. But in other things, Jade Giant Dango Curtis, also known as Fandango, made a really appearance on NXT where he challenged for the NXT Heritage Cup against Lexus King. Didn't pick up the win, but it was pretty cool to see him come out to his Fandango theme. But speaking of the system showing up in NXT, Moose, the TNA X Division champion, showed up in NXT to challenge the NXT champion Obafemi for the NXT title at Roadblock, which two big those two guys. That's been a dream match people have been talking about ever since the TNA NXT crossover was announced. And Obafemi ended up picking up the victory. The Hardy Boys, the TNA Tag Team Champions, also showed up in NXT and faced off with Axiom for the TNA World Tag Team titles, which the Hardys ended up picking up the victory with that. So it was cool to see the Hardys back in WWE. Let's see. Speaking of debuts and signings, Mustafa Ali returned to TNA to officially sign a contract because before his previous run, he was doing a deal by deal date. So Ali is now a full time roster member with TNA, which is a great signing. And we'll talk about him in just a moment for this show. Another, but a surprise debut was the man formerly known as Elias, which is now known as Elijah. Because there was interesting because it was previously thought he was going to sign with Ring of Honor because he formed an alliance with Ring of Honor's The Righteous, but instead he debuted for TNA. Let's see, it was at yep on the February 20th, 2015 episode of Impact. Elijah made a surprise debut for TNA, saving Joe Hendry from an attack from the Colognes, who also showed up in TNA. And it was late enough he had signed and defeating Brian Myers' debut match. So yeah, it's great to see Elijah in a major company. I always enjoyed him in WWE. Never understood why WWE didn't do more with him. Like the fact the only titles he got was 24/7 titles of crime. Should have at least gotten an Intercontinental title run. Because that guy was super over with the crowd. And man, he's actually legit. Like his guitar skills are great. I did enjoy
Yeah.
his feud with Jeff Jarrett. That was fun. But now it's really going to be really cool to see what he does here in TNA. And some positive news: Chris Bay, who unfortunately suffered an injury late last year that resulted in him being paralyzed. We got recent news now that he is able to walk. He has gained his. I don't know if he's fully beaten the paralysis, but he's gotten to a point where he can at least walk.
I can cover this. He can walk. He's limited, but he can walk. He's still not he still doesn't have full control of some of his joints and stuff like that. But like his fingers, some of his fingers and stuff like that. He even said to Christopher, he's still having challenges gripping stuff, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But he is walking on his own 2 feet. Like,
Yeah,
one thing I didn't bring up, which I thought was amazing, Cody Rhodes got Chris Bay and his family to WrestleMania
yeah.
to check out the show.
That is
That's
one
nice.
thing about this Chris Bay situation is it really brought the wrestling world together, which was nice to see. Every company came out in support of Chris Bay. They even had that Chris Bay support show where every major company, I believe every major company participated, even WWE.
Yeah, carrying cross technically, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, we definitely wish all the best for Chris Bay. Hopefully he's able to recover to the point where he can get back in the ring or, at least can live a happy life. Because I know,
Also, he introduced Brody Lee Jr. to his first match.
yeah, Burley Jr. won the clusterfuck battle royal over the WrestleMania weekend at uh Joey Janela's event.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was
good
nice.
stuff.
Nice
Good stuff.
moment. So real quick though, while we were at Las Vegas, we did attend TNA Unbreakable.
Wow, because it's been a while. From between January and April, I've been to multiple TNA shows. So there was TNA tapings over at Full Sail University, which is the old NXT stomping grounds.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 days of recording tapings. I went to the second day with our pal Mo.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time. We didn't get all the references or the storyline shit because Nick wasn't with us, but like we enjoyed our show. We got some standout stuff like Joe Hendry took on Hammerstone for the TNA World Title, and that was a fun one. Even had like a weird Ryan Nemeth segment beforehand. We had the Cologne say on the Hardys. That's where we were like, wait, the Colognes are back wrestling in the USA now? Like they were going like that. That's where we found out they announced that big steel cage tag match was those tapings. Mike Santana had a great match as well. He showed up in the crowd near us. You can also see us in that footage if you find out. I think it's like late February, early March. You can see at least me and Mo, a little bit of Mo's face in the background because we got on the side facing the hard cam. So like you can see us there. Wow, that was really fun. And yeah, it was an enjoyable. That was an enjoyable experience overall. Though we didn't know what all the storylines are going on and stuff like that, but then
Yes. Yes. No, enough about you. Then the all of us while we were in Vegas, we man, we got there on time because Kristen and Christopher's flight was running late, but we managed to make it for TNA Unbreakable right as the show was starting. And damn, TNA Unbreakable was a damn good show.
Hmm.
That was a damn good show.
Oh,
Uh
match a night easily barbed wire massacre.
oh god. Yeah, to go through that briefly, the big things that happened was the International Championship Tournament, which one of the qualifiers was already AJ Francis. During the night, Eric Young and Steve Macklin would also qualify. Uh, we saw the appearance by the man formerly known as Reginald Reggie and what was his mask name? Schism.
Yeah. His he had it was a decent match. Like I give it that.
Yeah, his current ring name is Sidney Akeem. I don't know if that was just a one off appearance or if maybe he will end up signing with TNA. But yeah, he had a match with Moose in the open challenge, and Moose destroyed him.
Mm,
Um, let's see. Yeah, Santana and the Hardys beat Ali and the Nemeth brothers. Which, speaking of which, that's another major thing. Nick Nemeth has turned heel and fully and joined with his brother, which I figured was going to happen eventually. Nick Nemeth is just too good as a heel.
mhm.
Joe Hendry and Barslovich defeated Frank Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard, which the "you are racist" chants that night were funny.
Yeah.
Like people got switching them up. If you know anything about Tessa Blanchard, you know why that happened. I don't think I need to go into those details. But yeah, but yeah, that weekend, as I mentioned earlier, we got to see Joe Hendry live twice. We got to see him at Unbreakable and at WrestleMania. That's crazy. Didn't think that was going to happen.
And then, of course, the other big news is that Steve Macklin is the first international champion.
Yes, I was getting to it.
Okay.
Steve Macklin is the first international champion. That was I thought it was a good main event. Unfortunately, it had to fall Barbed Wire Massacre because Barbed Wire Massacre was freaking insane. If you
A
watch any
quarter
match from that show, you need to watch Barbed Wire Massacre. I saw things in that match I don't think I've ever seen before in hardcore wrestling.
quarter of that crowd left after that match.
Yeah, it should have been the main event. It really should have been. Sammy Callahan, Mance Warner went all out. They want. I know they wanted to end the night in triple threat as a reference to the original Unbreakable, which ended in triple threat. But that is one thing I will be critical of TNA in that show. They should Barbed Wire Massacre should have gone last.
Um,
I don't want to spoil too much to happen in that match because people need to go watch it. It was damn good.
uh, Chris Bay made his first appearance on TNA programming since his injury,
Mm-hmm.
which was
And
really
yeah,
great.
gave an
The
update.
guy, the heckler in front of us can go fuck himself.
Yeah, the Jeffrey
Um,
Dahmer looking motherfucker.
but no, it was an inspirational speech. It was some great words from him, and like, it was nice to see him back in TNA, even if it was just for a short while.
Yeah, it was great. Him and Ace Austin came out. So yeah, hopefully Chris Bay gets well soon. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall, TNA Unbreakable was a good show. I highly recommend it. And a lot of things that happened on that show now will lead directly into TNA Rebellion. So let's go ahead. Do you have anything else to add before we get right into the show?
Um, Many different ways made fun of AJ Francis.
Oh yeah, that was highlight the main event. That the crowd heckling AJ Francis, that was really funny. The funniest joke is I heard the guy behind us saying that he was dressed like a Grimace milkshake.
Yeah,
That
that was a
was
good one.
funny as hell.
Oh, your N64 barbed wire controller comes
Oh, we
back.
did get that. I didn't want to spoil too much from that, but the barbed wire and 64 controller did make its return, and I marked out. I was happy about that.
Okay, that's it.
Uh,
That's all I'll say.
I will spoil that. Go watch Barbed Wire Massacre. Hell, I don't recommend the whole show, but if you watch anything, watch Barbed Wire Massacre. That was good. All right, so let's get into the card tonight. In our first match, might be the opening match. We'll have to see. In an Ultimate X match for the TNA X Division Championship, Moose will be defending the title against KZ Navarro, Leon Slater, Matt Cordona, Vikingo, and a still to be determined final opponent.
Now
So,
let me confirm. Ultimate X is the one where they dangle the belt in the middle above.
yes, and you have to climb up the scaffold and
Oh,
also get yourself through over the ropes
A
to.
man the size of Moose doing that is gonna be so funny. But go on.
Yeah, there's actually a reason why it's an Ultimate X match. We get back to storyline. Okay. So before the March 27 episode TNA Impact went on the air, the system, Eddie Edwards, Alicia Edwards, Brian Myers, JCC, and Moose came out to the ring for promo. There, Edwards lambasted his teammates for what he perceived to be a poor performance sacrifice because they lost that cage match. In particular, he singled out Moose for his title defense in a ladder match against Jeff Hardy because Moose was acting afraid of heights. Like he was having trouble getting up the ladder. He still ended up winning the match, but Edwards said that Moose needed to face his fears and overcome his fear of heights, and said that he would be defending the extra title at Rebellion in an Ultimate X match. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be leading to some tension between Eddie Edwards and Moose because Edwards went over Moose's head and put him in that situation, even though Edwards is framing it as being for Moose's own good. And as I mentioned, they revealed that Leon Slater, Macedonia, and Falkingo were the first three participants. And then 2 weeks later, Casey Navarro defeated Cody Deaner to qualify. There's still supposed to be one to be determined. I know there's supposed to be one more Impact that airs between now and Rebellion. I don't know if that's going to be revealed on that episode or if it's going to be a mystery opponent. So, with that said, I'm going to go with Moose retaining mainly because I think he's going to cash in the X title eventually against Hendry.
Yeah.
You agree?
Oh no, yeah. I talked to you about this after we were sitting waiting for a ride after Unbreakable. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, Moose is retaining. Like,
yeah, I think so. Probably Moose will just this will be part of him overcoming Ultimate X. Do you think though this has kind of started the systems breaking up, or at least Eddie Edwards
I
being
don't know. I still hate their fucking entrance graphic.
it is pretty bad. Every time I think the system's about to break up, they start pushing them again. So we'll have to see with that. But yeah, we both agree Moose is retaining. But hey, we got Vikingo now in there, part of AAA partnership with TNA, and now AAA. We briefly mentioned AAA is now owned by WWE. So that's interesting. Next up, the new TNA signee Elijah has issued an open challenge. So basically, let me go back a little bit. Where are you? Yeah, this isn't really too much to say. Elijah did come
Yeah.
out at Unbreakable and said he was going to have an open challenge at Rebellion. It's just a way to get Elijah on the card. It might be a way to debut somebody, but I would think Elijah's going to win still because I feel like they're still pushing him. But it really would depend on who the mystery opponent is. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to go Elijah winning.
Cool.
What do you think?
Yeah, I get Elijah as well. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's somebody big. Maybe it's some like cameo appearance for a one night shot at something. But yeah, Elijah to win is all I can say for this one, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. For some reason, they don't have the road to for this one. So let me pull it up real quick.
Okay. Well, I will say what the next one is.
Yeah,
It is
it's
the NXT group known as Fatal Influence, which is comprised of Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix, taking on the team of Rosemary, Zaya Brookside, and Ying Lee, the former Zaya Lee.
actually two of
Uh,
these people are former NXT wrestlers
yeah.
on the Impact side. Let me see. Let me get down. There we go. There we go. So basically, on the tapings from March 29th, don't remember which one what day it aired on, but basically NXT JC Jane was defeated Rosemary, and afterward the Fatal Influence, which is Jasmine Nix, Fallon Hendry, JC Jane, attacked Rosemary after the match. Zai Brookside and Ling Yi made the save, and then Santino announced it as a 6-woman tag match. So basically, it's a crossover match. It's NXT versus TNA. As for who will win, uh,
I don't know.
it could go either way, honestly. But
I'm gonna say fatal influence because like
Yeah,
not
they're the
only
more established team.
oh I mean yeah all that and like because of the when we get to the knockouts tag title match as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. I'm gonna go with Fatal Influence winning as well.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, in a Falls Count Anywhere match, it's Mike Santana versus Mustafa Ali. So background on this. At Sacrifice, Mustafa Ali defeated Mike Santana due to interference from his cabinet Order 4, which includes Tasha Steelz and the Great Hands, John Schuyler, and Jason Hotch. After the match, Ali took a beer from a fan and placed it in front of Santana, referencing Santana's battle with alcoholism and sobriety. What a dick. On the subsequent episode of TNA Impact, the two had a rematch with Order 4 banned from ringside, which Santana won, but only via countout when Ali walked away. When asked about why he left by GM Miller, Ali vowed that he would be the one addiction that Santana couldn't beat. Damn. 2 weeks later, Santana showed a friend of his around who had been hired by TNA, who was also celebrating 3 months of sobriety. However, the man was kidnapped by Order 4, where Ali reminded him of a car accident that he caused a year ago, which left a young girl paralyzed.
He was kidnapped by ninjas. Somebody call the cops.
No, instead he's been collapsed to have his sins of his past thrown in his face. The man was later found unconscious by other backstage workers, seemingly having relapsed. Damn, man. This is like CM Punk Jeff Hardy all over again. The following week, Ali faced Ace Austin, but intentionally got himself disqualified after using a chair. He was about to further assault Austin until he was confronted by Santana, to where he and Order 4 retreated again. However, Santana hijacked their car and kidnapped Schuyler, where he argued that Ali would rid himself of Schuyler once he served his purpose to him. TNA later announced a rematch between Santana and Ali was set for Rebellion. At Unbreakable, Santana came out and said he was sick of Ali running away and demanded from Santino Marella to make it a Falls Count Anywhere match, which Marella obliged. This has gotten personal.
It's beginning good.
Yeah. I'm convinced that Ali's now fully with TNA. Santana was signed not too long ago. Like he came back, I think it was Bound for Glory. And now these two are going at it in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and I'm ready for it. I think I'm gonna go with Santana winning because Ali's just been the dick heel in this whole thing, and I think it's the way to cap off their feud with Santana winning and moving on to something else.
Yeah, sorry to agree with you again, but yeah, Santana as well.
You can agree with me. I know I'm a genius. It's okay to agree with a genius. Yeah, it should be a good match. Ali and Santana. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, next up, and a match I'm sure you're looking forward to.
No.
And a fatal four-way tag team match for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. The champions, Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance, will take on NXT's The Metaphor, which is Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. The former champions, Spitfire, Danny Luna, and Jody Threat, and also from NXT, Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. So, at Sacrifice, Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance defeated Spitfire in a 3-on-2 handicap match with their manager, the Personal Concierge, to win the TNA Knockouts titles. Thankfully, the Personal Concierge was not recognized as champion. And it's probably a good thing you didn't see this show because you didn't have to see Ash by Elegance win the title. As they were celebrating, however, they were confronted by NXT wrestlers Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson of the Metaphor. A subsequent episode of TNA Impact would feature Ash and Heather attempting to have a proper celebration, complete with Ash making a wish on a cake, but were interrupted by Spitfire, Metaphor, and later Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, which they just won a match to get to be number one contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. So we'll see them versus Liv and Raquel soon enough. The confrontation escalated into a massive brawl. This led to a non-title match between Ash and Heather, and Dolan and Paxley with the champion securing the win. Post-match, Ash was about to blow out her cake from last week. Yeah, that cake's going to be stale by now. But Dolan and Paxley would end up slamming her face into it. You can look that up. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. A distraught Ash would take a brief sabbatical from TNA after the incident. The week after, Metaphor would defeat Spitfire in a tag team match. 2 weeks later, on April 17th, Dolan and Paxley defeated Heather and an interim partner, Maggie Lee, with Dolan pinning Heather for the win. Backstage, a distressed Heather Lee and the personal concierge. I distraught Heather Lee and the personal concierge worried over how Ash would react to the loss before being confronted again by the three other teams, who all won a title match. After much yelling between the three teams, Heather relented and granted all of them a four-way tag team match for the titles at Rebellion. So Heather got her and Ash into this situation. Oh, honestly, man, this could go anyway. I don't think they're gonna give it back to Spitfire because they just had 2 runs with it.
Mm.
But it would be interesting if one of the NXT teams won it, especially Dolan and Paxley, because they just became number 1 contenders to WWE Women's title. So if they
Yeah.
win the TNA World Knockouts Championships and they challenge for WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, could be pretty interesting. And also, I'd see how Ash gets along with Heather in this match because Heather got them in the situation in the first place.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Who do you think's
So,
gonna
oh,
win?
my pick, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure honestly. Like, half of these teams are NXT stars. Like,
Mhm.
and the odds of Spitfire taking it back are high. Um, I guess I'll go with Spitfire. Like, I don't see any of the NXT. I certainly don't want the Elegance team to win them back and win them, retain them. And like, I don't think either NXT teams are gonna be winning them either. So
It's possible.
it's possible, yeah, with the current partnership WWE has with TNA. But like,
You know,
I'm gonna go with Spitfire.
okay. Because Dolan and Pax was going for the women's tag titles, I'm gonna say Metaphor. Because I think it would be kind of cool to see an NXT team win a TNA title. So I'll go with that. Because I don't know.
Mm.
All right, next up for the TNA International Championship, the new champion, the inaugural champion, Steve Macklin, will defend against EY Eric Young. So this won't
What a
take
shocker!
long. So
What a
this
shocker!
won't take too long to set up because I had Unbreakable, as we mentioned, Steve Macklin won the 3-way match against Eric Young and AJ Francis to become the inaugural TNA National Champion. Later that night, it was announced that Mack would defend the title against Young at Rebellion, as Young was not pinned in that encounter. So there's been a long, long running feud right now between Macklin and Young because it was Young who kind of got who Macklin turned face, and now Young kind of has become heel, but he's still kind of maintaining a friendly relationship with Macklin even though Macklin's a face and Young's more of a heel. I don't know. Is this going to be the result of that, or if EY will turn mega heel and try to screw over Macklin? I don't think Macklin's losing the title because he just got it. But it'd be interesting to see if Young loses this, does he fully turn on Macklin afterward?
Mm.
But yeah, I'm going Macklin retaining though.
Macklin retain. Okay. Macklin retain. He just won the title like what feels like yesterday. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, he retains here. Should be a good match.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I do have to mention I have been really enjoying what TNA's done with Macklin since they've gotten him. They made him a really established heel to where point he got a short run of the TNA World Title, and now they've been doing a good job building him up as a babyface, getting crowd
Hmm.
behind him. Now known as Bulletproof Steve Macklin. All right, so next up for the TNA World Tag Team Championship, the Battle of the Brothers, as the Hardy Boys, Jeff and Matt Hardy, take on the Nemeth brothers of Nick and Ryan Nemeth.
My big brother. That's all I got from that TNA taping. Was that's what Ryan Nemeth's gimmick was.
Yeah, they
Saying
just
that.
made him. They're making him an annoying heel.
Yeah.
So let me get this set up. Okay, here we go. So at Sacrifice, TNA World Champion Joe Hendry TNA Tag Champions Matt Hardy, Elijah, Leon Slater, and Nick Nemeth defeated the System of Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, JC, and the Colognes of Eddie Colon and Orlando Colon in a 10-man tag team steel cage match. However, after the match, Nick and his brother Ryan Nemeth locked themselves in the cage with Matt Hardy and proceeded to beat him down and cut his head open while preventing their teammates from stopping him. Basically, Nick turned heel because Ryan has been heel for a while. He's been trying to get his brother to join him, and he finally convinced him to do so. The Nimbus would explain their actions on the subsequent episode of TNA Impact, claiming that Matt and his brother Jeff were taking all the credit for TNA's recent resurgence rather than Nick, who deserved the credit. They later proclaimed that they are the best brother tag team in wrestling history. Okay. The following week, Nick defeated Slater in a singles match, Leon Slater, in a singles match before he and Ryan conducted a post-match beatdown. The Hardys would run out to save Slater, where they'd put a challenge out to the Nimbus for the TNA tag titles match at Rebellion. TNA would make the match official later that night. So the Hardys have held the titles since Bound for Glory. So I'm leaning towards them dropping the belts to the Nimbus brothers because it would make Nick Nimbus heel term legitimate. And the Hardys have held it for a while.
I am going to go the opposite. I don't think it's the Nemesis who are going to take the tag titles off them. I think Hardy's retain here. I think maybe a Slammiversary they lose them, but for right now, I think they retain here.
Okay. All right, so next up for the TNA Knockouts World title, Masha Slamovich defends against Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, she's all right, sis. Clap, clap, clap.
Okay, after making her TNA return at Final Resolution, Tessa Blanchard vowed to retake what she called her Knockouts division. On the February 20th episode of TNA Impact, Blanchard would have her first interaction with TNA Knockouts World Champion Masha Slamovich, who took her place in a match after Blanchard refused to compete. My allergies acting up. On the TNA Impact, following Sacrifice, Blanchard confronted Slamovich at the beginning of the show, letting her know that she would be targeting her title. The following week, Slamovich defeated NXT's Jessie Jane in a non-title match, with Blanchard banned from ringside. However, immediately following the match, Blanchard and Jane attacked Slamovich before being run off by Zaya Brookside and Li Ying Li. The week after, Blanchard teamed with Fatal Influence, Jane and Jasmine Nix, to defeat Slamovich, Brookside, and Lee in a 6-woman tag team match, with Blanchard pinning Slamovich to earn the victory. Later that night, TNA announced that Slamovich would defend the Knockouts title against Blanchard at Rebellion. And as I mentioned earlier, at Unbreakable, Joe Hendry and Masha Slamovich defeated Frank Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard. So I'm thinking because Blanchard's team lost at Unbreakable, I kind of feel like they're probably going to put the belt on Blanchard. Yeah, she's controversial, but she's been really milking that reaction as a heel. And I feel like if you're going to bring Blanchard back, you're probably going to go all the way and make her the champion again, which she last held the title back in... Damn. She lost it in January 2019, so it's been a while. See, Masha Slamovich held titles since Bound for Glory, so it's been, as this recording, 177 days. I think they're going to put the belt on Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, same here. It's hard to disagree on that. I know we haven't disagreed a lot on this card, but like, I feel it's the given. Like, the heat on her will be even greater, and then like whoever wins it off her, it's going to be so over.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
And Slamovich had a good run since winning it about Glory.
Yeah.
So, in our main event for the evening, for the TNA World Championship in a triple threat match, the champion Joe Hendry will defend the title against Ethan Page and cashing in his Collier Shot title opportunity, Frankie Kazarian. So how do we get to this point? Well, let's find out. So, at Bound for Glory, Frank Kazarian won the Call Your Shot gauntlet, earning a championship match of his choosing at any time for 1 calendar year. Later that night, Kazarian served as a special guest referee for TNA World Championship match between champion Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry. Kazarian attempted to invoke his championship opportunity during the match to no avail. Over the next few months, Kazarian continued to feud with Hendry and made several unsuccessful attempts to call his shot, most notably at Genesis, where Hendry defeated Nemeth to win the title. On the April 3rd edition of TNA Impact, Kazarian attacked Hendry and injured his arm. Kayfabe. Hendry was subsequently taken to a nearby medical facility. I'm just kidding, a hospital. Later that night, Kazarian declared that he'd be calling his shot for the TNA World title at Rebellion in his home state of California. However, NXT's Ethan Page made a surprise return in TNA and declared after speaking with TNA Director of Authority Santana Marella, he was the one that's supposed to be challenging Hendry for the title at Rebellion due to defeating Hendry in a match earlier in the year on NXT. Kazarian and Page subsequently brawled, with Page getting the upper hand. Later that night, TNA announced that Hendry would defend the title against both men in a three-way match at Rebellion. This should be good.
Mm-hmm. So Hendry's retaining, right?
Yeah, I think Hendry's retaining. I don't think he's losing it yet. I think at the earliest, I don't see Hendry losing it until Slammiversary. At the most, I see him probably holding it all the way to Bound for Glory. So, yeah, they got both men legit reasons, like Kazarian's cashing in his Call Your Shot, and Ethan Page has a victory over Hendry. Because Joe Hendry also failed to win an NXT title from Page. He's got history with both men. So definitely sets it up. As much as I would eventually like to see Kazarian get a world title run, it's not happening here. Joe Hendry is on fire right now, especially coming off his appearance at WrestleMania. It's cool they got NXT's Ethan Page in here in a return to TNA, which is weird. Because last time we saw him in TNA, he was Karate Man.
Yeah. Let me ask you, who do you think is taking the title off of Hendry eventually?
Don't know. Because I was originally maybe thinking Kazarian, because you could use that Call Your Shot, but now he's using it here. There's plenty of possible people you could go with. I don't know, honestly. I had to think about who'd be a good heel to take it off him. I'm trying to remember who's on the roster real quick. It could be even somebody from WWE for who all I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could lose
it.
It
Just be obvious to just say Moose.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to put Moose has already had two lengthy reigns. I don't see Hendry losing it to Moose. I definitely see Hendry Moose happening. Maybe that'll be a Slammiversary. Who's on the roster right now? Let me see. AJ Francis. No, I'm kidding. Matt Cardona actually could be a good choice. He could be a legit guy to take the title off Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Matt Cardona. I think that'd be a good choice.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see.
All right. So now we've covered the card. I need to ask from you, what do you think will be the best match of the night?
Best match of the event. I'm gonna give it to Santana Ali. The X Division match is probably gonna be an opening banger, maybe. I mean, just to see Moose grab that rope and just shimmy along at his man, they're gonna have to reinforce those pillars, man. I'm just saying.
He's got to overcome his fear.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one, but no, I'll give it to Santana Ali. I think that was gonna be a really good one.
Yeah, they're gonna go out with False Count Anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think they're gonna go all out with that. I think the world title match will also be good.
Yeah.
TNA world title match.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts on this before we wrap things
Nope.
up?
That's it.
All right, then my number one minion, I'll let you wrap this things up.
So that's going to do it, folks, for our prediction for TNA Rebellion 2025. So other than that, if you're new to the channel, you can hit the like button. If you want to talk to us more about stuff like this, comment down below. If you want to share us around, share it around. And if you like us just a little bit more than anybody else when it comes to talking about TNA Wrestling. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell icon as well. Let us know what your predictions are on TNA Rebellion 2025. What do you think is going to be the best match of the night? Who do you think is taking home gold and who do you think is retaining their gold? Let us know in the comments down below. Put down what you have our predictions overall. But most importantly, we thank you for watching. Now, of course, Nick, aside from this channel, where can they find you elsewhere on the internet?
Well, you can follow me on the social medias. You can check me out on Facebook, check me out on Instagram, and go ahead and check me out on XX, formerly known as Twitter, baby.
Cool.
Yeah.
You can check out our predictions to our reactions to TNA Wrestling's Genesis from 2025. You can check our reactions to last year's Rebellion event, 2024. And yeah. So until next time, though, I'm Kristen.
I'm Nick Slade.
And this has been a very rebellious filled episode of 1, 2, 3 Wrestling. And we will see you guys later.
Hey guys, thanks for watching.
If you want to check out any of our previous reactions,
as well as one of our other SRB shows,
check out one of the playlists down below.
And if you want to check us out in the social universe,
you can find us on Twitter and Stardust
at Super React Bros,
as well as on Facebook
at Super Reaction Bros.